I think I've seen God in the campers this summer.
It's just been a blessing to interact with all these young men and women and these adults.
Like when they come in every week, they're kind of hesitant at first, like what am I kind of doing here kind of thing. But then they actually go out and see the people they're going to work for. That's when it really starts hitting them, is like we're doing the work of God.
They go out and they do all this work and they minister to these people, and just seeing them come back and tell us about it, that's where I see God.
Watching the campers talk about how much they've seen God and the people they've worked for, it just really has showed me how much that they're doing and how humble they are and how they see God in other people more than they see God in themselves, and that's really cool.
Just like seeing their progression through the week of how they really start getting it and how they really start seeing that I am making a difference with somebody's life.
Especially like when I see it when they sort of make that transition of like on Monday they're given a job and they're so task oriented. They're like, okay, we gotta do this, we gotta get this done, and then by like Thursday and Friday they're all like, you know what, let's take a break, let's just go inside. You know, it started to click with them that that's what they're really here for, to minister to the people.
I think what has impacted me the most is the people we work for.
Going to visit some of the people that we haven't even talked about working for and having them crying and thanking me just for being there has been so impactful, to know that we have that much of a effect on a person.
I've seen God in the full circle effect that happens, you know, since my job's more behind the scenes than some people's, and we go out to see them and we say, hey, you know, what work do you need done, and then we come around and I see the campers go work for them, and then they come back and tell me where they saw God in that work site.
I've seen God in our worships, I think. The theme is messy spirituality, and we talk about on Sunday night that even though our lives are messy and imperfect, that Jesus meets us here in our messiness.
We hit the ground running Sunday, and it always seems like that's just such a meaningful worship.
Every night we pretty much say, you know, Jesus meets you here. He meets you where you are in your faith at that moment.
God meets us in our mess. He meets us in the toughest ruts, the stuck places in your life.
We talk about, even though our lives are imperfect, like Jesus has called us to be a disciple. When we have our worship in the gym and we're talking about the woman at the well and how Jesus saw past the past that she had, and even though people rejected her, we are not rejected because of our past. God loves us and He accepts us for who we are, but we don't have to be perfect for Jesus to meet us here or to meet us when we get back home. And so I've just really seen God show up in our worships this summer.
We've had so many funny things happen.
I think when you have a staff like ours, everything's a little bit funny.
It's just collectively as a staff, I feel like we're pretty funny together.
One night for testimony worship, Alyssa stood up to read my verse before my testimony. And she goes, Lamentations 3:19, with the straightest face.
And me and Mary Alice are sitting there, obviously knowing that she said Lamentations and not Lamentations, and we just bust out laughing. And it was really hard because it was our serious worship, and I'm like covering my mouth, like trying to be quiet and trying to be reverent, but it was so hard.
Our staff has these faces that they like to do. Well, Mary Alice has these faces that she likes to do. And then of course you have Dalton, who goes around doing this awkward mosquito thing.
This was from last year actually, so props to Jenny Motes.
I think I've seen God everywhere.
I've seen God all throughout this camp. It seems like in every turn there's just a little piece of God.
It's absolutely one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. So I felt really blessed to be in such a beautiful place with such beautiful people.
I think I really have become more aware of how many needs we can serve. I've kind of, as the summer has progressed, gotten just more concerned with how are the campers doing? How is that relationship forming between the camper and the person we're working for?
I think this summer has taught me a lot of patience. I think it's something that God really wanted to show me to help myself grow this summer, and I'm really grateful for that.
It's given me a lot of leadership skills that I think will benefit me so much more in the future.
I'd say I'm a lot more confident. I've always been crazy, but it's kind of been a closeted crazy. So it's definitely taught me to bring all that stuff to the surface and just to be friendly and more open with everyone.
And I think God has a way of just changing you, and so that you don't even realize it, but yet you have. And it's just really cool to see that.
He has sent us here this week, and He wants us to be there for these people, and He wants us to serve them, and He wants us to be servants of Him.